Did the Saints get snubbed from the playoffs? All that and more on today's episode. You're listening to the BlitzBoys Podcast. Hi, I'm Kaiden Jenkins, your host. This is my co-host, Dakota McIntosh. You're listening to the BlitzBoys Podcast. You can find us on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Kaiden Jenkins 2 and Dakota McIntosh 0. Today, we're going to be going over, we're going to kind of mash the episodes together. We're going to go over the outcomes of Week 18 and our predictions for next week. So, let's get right into it, man. The Saints, they beat the Falcons 48-17. How are you feeling about the Saints not making it to the playoffs because the Bucs beat the Panthers by 9 points? They only scored 9 points. How are you feeling?
It makes me a little sad, I'm not going to lie, because they have the same exact record. They're the same exact divisional record. The only difference is the Bucs have one more win in the conference record than the Saints do. And it makes me sad to see, and I don't want to hear anything about how the Saints went for it in victory formation to give Jalen Williams his first touchdown after last season leading the league with 17 touchdowns. I don't want to hear it. It was a very, very teammate move of Jameis Winston and the whole entire Saints offense to go ahead and show him the respect to get him at least one touchdown. I mean, you look at the Falcons. Yeah, that was upsetting of them. I mean, their coach was really upset, but you know what? Fuck the Falcons. Fuck the Falcons. Who dat nation? That's all I gotta say.
Yeah,
they should be in the playoffs.
I totally agree with you with that dominating performance over the Falcons and the Buccaneers' piss poor win over the Panthers. The Saints should definitely be in the playoffs, but
yeah,
it's the way that it is. Yeah. But also, if the Saints went into the playoffs, they would be playing the Eagles. So,
easy matchup.
I know the Eagles have been struggling lately. Speaking of, the Eagles lost 27-10. The Giants beat the Eagles. Now, Jalen Smith, no, yeah, that's his name.
Jalen Hurts.
Anyways, Jalen Hurts, he hurts his finger in this game. He dislocated his finger, popped it back into place, and decided, yeah, I'm going to go back in after being down by a lot. And seeing that the Cowboys were dominating when you had no chance at getting the 2 seed, why do you put yourself through that knowing that you're going into the playoff? Why put your body in jeopardy?
Yeah, I mean, he shouldn't have gone back in. He should have just rested. Honestly, at halftime, they should have saw how the Cowboys were playing and stuff and that score, and I think they should have just taken out the starters.
I believe at halftime the Cowboys were down 7-10, but they should have looked at the third quarter stats and the score at the end of the third quarter and pulled their starters. That's what they should have done.
Mm-hmm.
But the Eagles, this isn't the only reason why they lost this game. DeAndre Swift was out. I believe A.J. Brown was out. A lot of their players were out and they got injured. And that's why if you have a playoff berth and you have nothing to play for, you rest your starters.
Yep.
There's no ifs, ands, or buts. And that is a Nick Sirianni problem. And Nick Sirianni has lost that locker room. They are not on the same page. And I would be surprised if he's most likely going to be there next year. But if the same issues happen, I'd be surprised if he's there in 2025. Because in all reality, if you can't gain the locker room of your teammates, of your players, as a head coach, you should not be the head coach of that team. Now, I do think he has head coaching potential in his future, but the vibes are not there. And when the vibes are not there, team plays piss poor, going 1-5 in the last 6 games when you were 10-1.
Yeah.
That's crappy, man. But
That's
speaking
yeah.
of the Cowboys,
Let you
I
gloat a little
am
bit.
all I'm gonna say is hats and shirts, baby. Hats and shirts in the fourth quarter. Hats and shirts. So in this game, Cowboys were down, I believe, in the first quarter or the first half, 7-10. Now, that is not due to the Cowboys playing poorly. That is due to the Commanders' defense playing pretty decent, especially their defensive line. They got a pick off Dak Prescott because the defensive line jumped up, put his hand up, and it tipped the ball in the air, and they were able to intercept it. I don't put that on Dak one single bit. But that pissed Dak off, and by halftime, they were just having fun out there, man. And when a team is having fun, the
Ooh,
chemistry's there, the vibes are good,
it's
you
hard to
start putting
stop.
up some points. Now,
Yeah.
the Commanders, we will go through this in the off season, but they got some things to work out.
Yes, they
And
do.
but with that win, Cowboys get the 2 seed. Eagles are going to be the 5 seed, and Giants and Washington, better luck next year. We're gonna go move on over to the Steelers and Ravens game. I called this one.
Hmm.
The Steelers beat the Ravens,
Yeah.
going 17-10. Now the Ravens weren't playing any of their starters, so I kind of knew that was going to happen. There's no surprise there. But the Steelers, as a playoff team, I don't know if I trust them because they were only able to put up 17 points against backups.
Yeah. Yeah. No. I don't know how Mike Tomlin does it. I think this is like his 17th straight season of having a winning record. That's
He's a good
insane.
coach.
He is. He's a phenomenal coach. But that team of the Steelers is not winning record potential, honestly.
They're so in today's day and age, however you want to call it. I will put this out there. If you have a shitty offense and a great defense, in today's day and world, defenses don't win championships.
They do not.
Defenses can help win championships, and they can be the
Mhm.
reason why you won, but the offense has to perform.
Preach it.
Now, if you have a crappy defense and an elite offense, you can win championships. It's just
Hmm.
how it is nowadays.
Look at the
And
look at the Chiefs. Look at the Chiefs.
the Chiefs defense is doing very, very good.
Yeah, I mean,
But with that being said, since we're talking about the Chiefs, we'll go into their game. Chiefs barely beat the Chargers 13-12. Did you watch that game?
I did not watch that game.
Yeah, neither did
No.
I because they weren't playing starters. Now,
Yeah.
on there, I don't really have much to say other than they gotta figure out the wide receiver and catching the football. We've been saying this every single week. They gotta figure that out if they want
Hmm.
to make a run because having an elite quarterback and having 40 plus drops on the season, that
It's
is not. You might get to the Super Bowl, but you are not winning that game.
I wouldn't say you win that because they have to go against the Ravens. If the Ravens go into the AC championship game, I mean,
Oh, I'm saying
oh
like
my gosh,
freak accident, you make it to the Super Bowl.
yeah,
You're not going to win that game
no,
because in the Super Bowl, you're either going to have to face, let's see,
I'd probably say the Cowboys or the Niners. Those are the two
yeah,
teams I'm thinking.
you're either going to have to face the Cowboys, the 49ers, and I'll give the benefit of the doubt, even though I hate this team, or the Eagles.
Mm,
If the Eagles turn things around and play like they were in the beginning of the
uh,
season, the Chiefs with dropping footballs are not going to beat those teams.
yeah, no, or even the Lions. Honestly, the Lions
Yeah,
they have an outstanding offense
or even the
and
Packers, man. The Jordan Love has been freaking balling. Now
he
I
really
know I
has.
said he is not him, like the him of the NFL, but I do think the Packers got lucky once again finding their third straight multi-year franchise quarterback without any gaps in between. So on there, we're going to talk about the Packers. Packers, they beat their rivals
Ugh.
and they own the Bears. Packers 17 to the Bears 9. I know this was another option for you to make the playoffs. How does that make you feel?
I was literally sitting there watching this game, praying that the Bears go down, get a touchdown, get a 2-point conversion, go into overtime, and win. I was praying, but it didn't happen, and it made me feel heartbroken after I saw the Buccaneers win against the Panthers. I sat there, I was like, Saints are a better team, and it made me sad. It made me sad to see. I won't lie. I think I shedded a tear or
Yeah.
two.
Now, the Bears. I'm going to say this to every Bears fan out there. I know I have talked crap on Justin Fields, but it is because he's been playing poorly, but that is not entirely his fault.
Mm-mm.
The
Nope.
Bears, you need to stop blaming the quarterback and blame the GM and the head coach.
Yeah.
Because if you don't know how to build around a quarterback that comes into the league with Justin Fields' technique and just overall prowess of the offense, and you don't build around him, what are you doing as a franchise? So
Honestly.
this offseason, we're going to be going over all of these teams and how they can better their team. And I hope for once somebody listens to our podcast because we are going over some juicy stuff. So keep tuned. But we're going to go on to the Bills and Dolphins game. The Bills, they dominated the
Ooh.
Dolphins.
That was yeah.
They 21 to 14. Now, Josh Allen, he's played so in the last 5 games, he's played 2 great games. But they have won all 5 games.
Yeah.
That is scary when you think about it. Because if Josh Allen makes mistakes and they're still winning games, they're going to be a tough team to beat in the playoff.
I mean, we said it. We said that like the Bills, once it comes down to it, they are a scary team to go against. Like if all cylinders are firing on the right levels and everything, Bills Super Bowl contenders potentially. I mean, they're scary. They just need to be more consistent.
Yeah. On there, Dolphins, don't get down in the dumps because you guys are still a pretty decent team.
Yeah.
And you have one of the highest caliber offenses.
Yeah.
Like I was saying earlier, that can be scary for teams in the playoffs.
Hmm.
Now, you guys
Yeah.
just need to keep it up,
Yeah.
keep the confidence, keep your head high, and you guys have a decent chance. So we're gonna go
Yeah.
over to the Carson Wentz and Sam Darnold Super Bowl.
Oh man.
The Rams beat the 49ers 21-20. And who would have thought in 2024 we would watch Carson Wentz
uh,
ball out and rush for a touchdown? Who would have thought?
Not me, that's for sure.
No, sir. No, sir. That game might have won him a part-time starting job on another team next year.
Yeah, no.
If that team is desperate enough. Now, I could see just a whole bunch of different outcomes. But this is going to be we're going to talk about another game that could have got the Saints into the playoffs. We're going to talk about the Seahawks and the Cardinals. Seahawks beat the Cardinals 21-0, 21-20. It was a 1-point game. Cardinals played very good football.
Yeah. Yeah, no, they played really good football. It came down to the last minute of the fourth quarter. I mean, I was sitting there looking at the screen and everything. I was hoping that the Cardinals will be able to hold off the Seahawks just because it was another way for the Saints to make the playoffs. And so I was sitting there hoping the Cardinals, they were looking good. Their defense was being strong, but in the end they weren't able to keep them out of the end zone, and they weren't able to go down, get field goal range, and kick a field goal. So it is what
Yep.
it is.
Yeah. Another game that was a little bit surprising to me, but I did predict the outcome, not the score, but the outcome. The Broncos fall to the Raiders because they were stingy about Russell Wilson's contract and benched him for the last game of the season.
Yeah.
And Raiders balled out. Now, I don't think the Raiders have their franchise quarterback in Aiden O'Connell, but they have some good things going on for them. And if they play their cards correctly in free agency and the draft, they can be a scary team next year.
Yeah, they have an outstanding defense. Their defense is stout, tough. Max Crosby on there is a big contributor to that. And honestly, I think Aiden O'Connell, if he gets like more reps in, more experience, I think he could be a franchise quarterback just by the way he's stepped up to the plate and stuff. He has made a lot of rookie mistakes, but I could see
I,
him overcoming it and becoming a great quarterback.
he is going to be the next Chad Henning or whatever his name is. He is going to be a franchise backup. Now, those people are very important when it comes down to it. I don't see him being a franchise quarterback, but he will be a very, very good backup in the NFL. Now, if a team is down bad and they need a quarterback like the Browns did, and they signed Joe Flacco, they might sign somebody like Aiden O'Connell for a season just to help them out. But I don't see him being the Raiders franchise quarterback. And also, Jimmy Garoppolo. Do you think he has a job next year?
No, no.
No?
I honestly don't. I mean, he may go up into free agency and a team like the Patriots may pick him up. But I honestly I don't really see I don't think his future is very bright anymore. Just based off his performances and everything, but that is the only scenario that I could think of right here at the moment. Is just going to the
Yeah.
Patriots.
I could see not Drake May because he is not a quarterback that's like Jimmy Garoppolo. I would say like Jaden Daniels or somebody like that. If they draft a guy like that, I'm talking about the Patriots here. if they draft a guy like that, sign Jimmy Garoppolo to be the mentor for him, they could have something going on in a year or two.
Honestly,
Now,
sign Bo Nix. Bo Nix from Oregon.
I have Bo Nix going to a different team, but we're gonna talk about all that
In the off season.
after the Super Bowl and all that. So, but with that being said, we're gonna talk about that Patriots game. Jets beat the Patriots 17-3. Now that was bittersweet to me. I hate the Patriots, but I love Ezekiel Elliott. I really, really hope that Ezekiel Elliott doesn't stay on the Patriots. I hope he goes to a different team like the Titans. They need a running back. They need a running back.
They do.
Tajee Spears, he's not going to be an every down back.
Mm-mm.
You need to change a pace guy like Ezekiel Elliott. And I would love to see him in that powdery blue. But also the Patriots, they are going separate ways, we think, with the most tenured head coach in the NFL,
Yeah.
Bill Belichick. And I'm kind of thinking, I'm putting this out there. I'm kind of thinking that he's going to go to the Chargers.
You think so? I think he's going to go to
Yes.
the Falcons. Honestly.
He could. But Bill Belichick is... I see the Falcons drafting another scrambling type quarterback.
No.
But whatchamacallit,
Justin Herbert.
Bill Belichick likes pocket passers that have some will. Who has that? Who has a good team that was badly coached?
The Chargers. I see
The
that.
Chargers.
And I could definitely see how Justin Herbert could fit into the scheme of how Bill Belichick could work and help him out. I could see that. I really can.
Yes. So that is my prediction. I'm putting it out there right now. But we're going to go on over to the Browns and Bengals. Browns rested starters. Bengals dominated against some backups. The Bengals dominated against the Browns backups. Sorry. And Jake Browning is getting a hot head. He had a interview saying, I think I have proved that I can be a franchise quarterback in the NFL. Now,
okay.
I think maybe it's possible, but let's say Jake Browning goes to the Raiders, right? He's only going to be starting for 1 year because the Raiders are going to be signing a quarterback. Drafting a quarterback because they are the 13th or 14th pick. And the Raiders are going to go with that draft pick because if you have that high of a draft pick and you don't start him in year 1 or 2, people are going to start asking questions. So, on there, Jake Browning, just like Aiden O'Connell, I think in 2 years, Aiden O'Connell is going to be the next Jake Browning. But they are going to be very, very high caliber backup quarterback.
Yeah, I could definitely see that because I know for sure that Jake Browning is not Joe Burrow level. He's not. Joe Burrow is on a whole different level, a couple different levels from Jake Browning. And for him to make a statement like that, that's my opinion, very far fetched.
Yep.
And I just don't see that happening.
Yeah. Neither do I. Now, the Vikings could sign Jake Browning, right? Hear me out. Vikings could sign Jake Browning because Kirk Cousins, I think he only has another year or two in him. Maybe more, I'm not sure. Kirk Cousins might be the next Joe Flacco that just comes out of retirement and dominate. But the Vikings need to start planning ahead. because it's gonna start being a rocky road, and you don't. I'm gonna say this right now: if you can avoid a full rebuild at, if all possible, do it, because you have one of the best wide receivers in the NFL, and in year 4, if he doesn't have a good quarterback, he is going to leave. And so on their Vikings and Lions, they actually they won by 10 points. Vikings played a pretty decent game, but the Lions, their offense, it's potent. Their defensive line is good, but their corners and secondary is not.
They need draft secondaries in the off season and stuff, but yeah, it's an ugly thing.
And then next game that we're going to go over to is the Titans and Jaguars. Titans beat the Jaguars 28-20 and kick the Jaguars out of the playoffs. And it was awesome to see because you all know how I feel about Trevor Lawrence. He is a top 15 quarterback in my list, but he is not a top 10. He is just outside of it. So on there, I think the Jaguars draft a quarterback in the next year or two. I really do.
Okay.
And then the Titans, I think they're going to go through a small rebuild. I think they're going to sign Ryan Tannehill to like a 2-year deal if his contract's up or anything like that. I don't know. That or bringing in another veteran quarterback to train and teach Will Levis, because Will Levis has the arm to be a quarterback in the NFL, the IQ, and he needs to work on his accuracy a little bit.
I'd say that too.
Will Levis, I could see him being a franchise quarterback.
Yeah.
Now I don't know if it's going to be for the Titans, but who knows, right?
Yeah, I mean, like,
so
the Titans also they just fired their head coach as well, and so
yep, and it, in all reality, it was not because they were doing bad.
Mm-mm.
It is because the owner or GM or whoever was not on the same page as Mike Vrabel, and Mike Vrabel wanted to sign players like the Eagles and go into free agency, sign players and draft players and not go through a rebuild. And I believe it was either the owner or the GM, they wanted to go through an entire rebuild, start fresh. And so they weren't on the same page, parted ways.
Yep.
I think Mike I think Mike goes to the Falcons. I think he is the next Falcons head coach.
Okay.
Because the Falcons and Titans have very, very similar teams.
They do.
Very similar teams.
I could see that, yeah.
Defense and offense. Like, if you swapped the players from each of those teams and kept the head coaches that were there this year, they would probably perform just about the same.
Yeah, I could see that.
As they did.
Yeah.
So, but last game of this week, we're going to be going over the Texans and Colts. All I got to say is CJ Stroud, baby. He is the Texans franchise quarterback, and nobody can say otherwise.
What about a sophomore slump? What about that? Got to think about it next year.
There's not going to be... Nope. There's not going to be a sophomore slump, because guess
Why?
what? If the Texans go into the Browns stadium, dominate the Browns, I believe the Texans have a possibility of playing the Chiefs. If the Texans dominate the Chiefs, there are going to be conversations going around in the media about Is CJ Stroud the next Patrick Mahomes? And is Patrick Mahomes on the decline? I can see it happening, bro. And I'm not saying that he's better than Patrick Mahomes, but that's going to be the narrative that's going to be pushed.
Okay.
And as far as the Colts, if Anthony Richardson can stay healthy, he's going to be a very, very serviceable quarterback. He's going to be like the next Lamar Jackson / Jalen Hurts type player.
Yeah.
But he needs to stay healthy.
Yeah, I didn't really watch any of the Anthony Richardson games, and so I can't say whether he is going to be
He
good with the offense or not.
So the Colts, where'd your camera go?
Oh, there it is. Okay.
The Colts aren't really used to a scrambling quarterback. It's all new to them. So they're trying to work out the kinks. But when Anthony Richardson would run that football, it was something special. It really was. And now, as a passer, I would say people are going to scrutinize him just like people scrutinize Lamar Jackson. But when you're running the football as good as you are, and you're passing the football as decent as you are, you're a pretty good quarterback. All right. So on there, we're going to move over to the predictions, and you're going to run that side, and we're going to go through and see who's moving on to the next round of the NFL playoffs.
All right, for the first game, we got the Rams versus the Lions. All right, we got a little homecoming for Matthew Stafford, and also a little bit for Jared Goff as well. So that's going to be a very interesting game. But I got the Rams winning. I got the Rams winning 28 to the Lions 24. I think that Matthew Stafford and Puka and that whole entire offense has been on a roll. They've been on fire. They all know, they all have got their chemistry, the morale and everything's going up. And the Lions, they look good when they're hot, when they're rolling and stuff. It's just that their defense is not very good when it comes to the pass, and that's where the Rams strive, is the pass. And they have Kyren Williams running out of the backfield, and he's top 5 running back this year. And even after his injury, he's still phenomenal. I think they're going to be able to get it done against the Lions.
Yeah, I agree with you. Now, I have it being a higher scoring game because emotions are going to be running high. Each one of these quarterbacks are going to be in the locker room before the game. Now, Matthew Stafford, he's the type of guy that he's not going to say anything, but his teammates know. His teammates know this is the reunion. This is to show the Lions that they, pardon my language, but this is not made for kids. He is going to show the Lions why they fucked up and got rid of him.
Yeah.
And so, but he's going to be humble about it. And that's what's going to get him the win because he is not going to be overly emotional. Now, Jared Goff, on the other hand, he's a cocky guy.
A talker.
So he's going to be in the locker room saying the same exact thing, saying, hey, this is my return game. We have to win this game. And he's going to throw a couple picks in this game because he is trying to force the win and big plays rather than trying to win this football game. And that's what's going to make him lose. I have the Rams winning 35 to the Lions 32.
Okay. And I also heard that the Lions fans, they are trying to protest on not wearing any Matthew Stafford jerseys in the game as well. Even though they left on a good note, there's still like some beef going on.
Yeah.
But the next game we got the Dolphins versus the Chiefs. So on this one, I've got the Dolphins winning just based off of the Chiefs' performances versus the Dolphins' performance. I've got the Dolphins winning 35 to the Chiefs 25. I think that the Dolphins are just gonna be able to slaughter him. Tyreek's gonna get his revenge and stuff, and Patrick Mahomes and that Chiefs offense, they're gonna be able to run down the field and stuff. It's just Kadarius Toney and the receiving core is gonna drop passes in crucial moments, and that is why they're gonna lose this game.
Yep. Yeah, I would have to agree with you. I have it being a one-score game, Dolphins 28 to the Chiefs 23, and just for the same reasons, that potent offense of the Dolphins matches up very, very, very well against the Chiefs defense.
Yeah.
Chiefs defense is not fast.
Nope.
They are powerful.
They are.
Dolphins offense is not powerful, but they are fast, and that is scary. So I have the Dolphins winning 28. Tyreek Hill has 2 touchdowns in the game and plus 100 yards. And the Chiefs are going to be at 23. And it's going to come down to the Chiefs have the ball with a minute left on the clock, no timeouts within their 20-yard line, right?
Mm-hmm.
They drive down the field with enough time to make one attempt at an end zone pass from the, let's say, within 15 yards, right? Patrick Mahomes throws it to Marquez Valdez-Scantling or Kadarius Toney. One of those two drops the football because they are double teaming Travis Kelce, but Isaiah Pacheco is wide open for a touchdown, and Patrick Mahomes just doesn't see it. I think that's how the game ends.
Okay.
And Chiefs fans are going to be a little bit salty about this one.
Just a little bit, but hey, it's our predictions. That's okay. You may have your own. This is just ours.
Oh no, I'm telling you, I'm saying they're going to be salty about this loss because
Oh
it's going to
yeah,
happen.
yeah. No, it's gonna be it's gonna be rough. I'm not gonna lie. But anyways, the next game we got the Steelers versus the Bills. All I gotta say, Bills are playing Steelers. Bills are gonna win. I'm guessing. I'm gonna 30-14. I don't need to say anything. They're going against the Steelers. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah. Yeah. I think this is going to be a game where Josh Allen throws a pick and loses a fumble or something like that. But the rest of the team carries him.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like the Steelers get away with a couple points, all right? I'm saying the Bills 24, Steelers 23.
Very close. Very close.
Very close.
That's respectable, but I don't see it happening. But all right, let's see. The next game we got the Cowboys versus Packers. I'll let you make your prediction first on this one.
All right. So the Cowboys offense pairs very well against the Packers defense. And vice versa. The Packers offense pairs very well against the Cowboys defense, believe it or not. And I'll explain why. So the Cowboys, the Packers, they were bottom 5. They allowed the 5th most rushing yards this season. Tony Pollard's going to eat. Also, the Packers have been very, very successful. I can't talk. Very prone to seam passes. Have you seen a lot of highlights of Dak Prescott throwing the seam pass to Jake Ferguson this year?
Oh yeah. Oh
Yeah,
yeah. I've seen one or
yeah.
two.
So, and then also Jair Alexander, the top Packers cornerback, that is very, very cocky, and I hate him, but he's a good
He
player.
is.
But he had stepped on his teammate's ankle and, stepped on his teammate's foot and rolled his ankle. So he's day to day. If they don't have Jair Alexander to travel with CeeDee Lamb's going to eat.
Oh, it ain't gonna be
But
close.
on there, Packers pass rush is secretly very good.
Mm-hmm.
Very good.
Yeah.
And they're but so the Packers offense, Jordan Love loves, pun intended, to throw over the middle, over the top of linebackers. The Cowboys defense, that is their biggest weakness, aside from rushing defense. And AJ Dillon has
Been getting it
or
done.
Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon, they have combined for one of the most efficient running schemes in the past 5 games. So this game is going to be very high scoring because I feel like the Packers, they're going to tell their linemen, hold Micah Parsons at all costs because they are not throwing flags.
Mm.
They're not throwing flags on Micah Parsons, so hold
He's just
him
too good
until they do throw one, if they do. So on there, I have the Cowboys at 40 to the Packers 35.
Dang, that's really high.
I feel like it's going to be deja vu, but a good version. I think they throw a deep pass to either Brandon Cooks or CeeDee Lamb to the left side, and they catch the football over the defender, and it's actually ruled a catch. Because I will stand by this. Dez caught
it. 100%.
Dez did catch that football. But anyways, I will let you go. Sorry, I am so passionate.
No, you're good. And it's also Mike McCarthy's reunion with the Packers as well.
He doesn't care.
I know he don't care.
He went on to the press conference and he was like, "You think I care about that?"
Oh,
no.
I know he doesn't care.
I am here. I am here to win this game.
Oh,
that's his word.
And that I think he'll do. Honestly, the Cowboys they're a better team than the Packers. I mean, you kind of summed it all up that I was gonna say too. I got not as high scoring, but I do got the Cowboys winning. I got the Cowboys at 32 to the Packers 24.
Respectable.
All right, next we got the Browns versus Texans. I got the Texans winning this one. This one I was kind of struggling with because Joe Flacco's got a lot of big games under his belt. He's got a Super Bowl ring and stuff. And so I was thinking, I was like, is he going to have another run? But I was like, he's old. He's not who he used to be. Even though he's kind of looking like it, he is not. And I think CJ Stroud, he's been playing phenomenal. And I think he's going to win. I think Texans are going to win 24 to the Browns 18.
Give me just 1 second. I am looking something up.
No, you're good. I mean, I think that Nico Collins, I think he's going to be all good and healthy for the game and everything. I just don't see the Browns going forward, even though they have been on a roll, especially with Joe Flacco. He's been balling out just like how he was back when he was with the Ravens, but I don't think it's going to be enough.
Sorry, I was looking up to see if Tank Dell was possibly able to come back this season for the playoffs, but He physically could, but the Texans have used all of their 8 call-ups from injured reserve this year, so they can't call him back up. He would not be ready for this game, but possibly the next.
Okay.
But anyways, I'm going CJ Stroud all day against this old Joe Flacco.
All
Now,
right.
Joe Flacco, he's been balling, all right?
Yeah, I was going to say, put a
But
little bit of respect on it.
But the Browns are the Browns, and the Browns are going to do Browns things. And Texans 20, Browns 13. That's all I got to say.
All right. Next, we got the Eagles versus the Buccaneers. You can come at me all you want, but the way the Eagles have playing and everything, and the way the Bucs have been playing, this is going to be an extremely close game.
Yes.
But I got the Buccaneers winning. I got it being a low-scoring game. I got it being the Buccaneers 14 to the Eagles 13. I just look at the stats and everything. Look at the highlights of the games and stuff. I mean, both teams are not firing on all cylinders. And since the Saints did get in and the Buccaneers did, I want to see them do something with getting in. I want to see this happen. I want to see them beat the Eagles. So that's why I gotta go with them.
If it was the Falcons, would you be saying that?
Oh no, fuck the Falcons. Fuck the Falcons.
Yeah. Speaking of that, fuck the Eagles, and I think the Eagles could potentially win this.
Oh,
game.
you do?
But I do, because look how they played at the beginning of the season. If they somehow, some way figure out how to turn things around, then I think they could slide by this one.
Yeah.
But I have the Buccaneers winning.
Okay.
And I think that it's going to be a 1-point game. The Buccaneers 20, Eagles 19. Eagles miss the extra point, losing the game.
Okay.
And I feel like that it's going to be a little bit of a low-scoring game because Jalen Hurts has not thrown a football since Sunday, and it is Thursday, because of his finger. Because he went back into that game last week, I think he aggravated it, and I think it's going to be somewhat healed, maybe even healed all the way. But it's going to be hurting, and I think he makes some mistakes, and I think the Bucs defense gets a couple turnovers, and they capitalize on maybe one of those. But with all that being said, I just don't believe in the Eagles right now until they prove otherwise.
Well said. And that's all the games and everything for the wild card.
Yeah, and I honestly think we guessed the same amount.
Yeah,
right?
all of them
ones.
are the same. I thought you were gonna go Eagles on the last one, but no, you surprised me with that one.
Yeah, no. With that being said, I think we're pretty good on these picks. Now, the Texans, Browns, and the Bucs, Eagles, that one could be different. Those two could be different, but
Going 6-0.
I don't think they're going to be.
6-0.
Yeah. Yeah. And we will be going over everything on the next episode. Thank you for listening to this BlitzBoys podcast. I'm hoping by this time next year we have a sponsor so we can say thanks for listening to the BlitzBoys podcast brought to you by, but we're not there yet. This is my co-host, Dakota McIntosh. I'm Kaiden Jenkins. You can find us on X, formerly known as Twitter, at KaidenJ2 and Dakota McIntosh 0. And it's actually Kaiden Jenkins 2. Sorry about that. And then next week, we're going to be going over the outcomes of these games and our predictions for the week after. And yeah, just stay tuned. And we hope to see you next time.
Deuces.